that we all have a range of responses to life based on our levels of anxiety. And when we're working with other leaders, with persons in our communities and congregations, it's to extend some grace to them that people are living with a great deal of anxiety. And the COVID experience has surfaced inequities in our health system, inequities in who does essential work. All of this flows into the congregations that we lead. And so we have a range of responses to that. Ed Friedman encouraged us not to try to diagnose or even change other people, that's not where leadership begins, but instead we work on our own self-differentiation, our own spiritual life. One time I was with Ed Friedman, and I had come across just a brief sentence that Thomas Merton wrote. And Thomas Merton said, "I never did try to change other people. I simply tried to work on my own spiritual life." And Ed Friedman looked at me and he said, "Bingo." And we're still reading Thomas Merton's books 50 years later. And so our role is to preserve the integrity of the body, the integrity of the community, the congregation. And so in the COVID experience, it is to say we love our neighbor by maintaining a social distance from them. In a time of intense and very public racial murders, the murders of Breonna and Ahmaud and George and Rayshard, it is to say Black Lives Matters. And this is what the gospel is. And in doing this, we're preserving the integrity of the system. Ed Friedman had this concept that stress is not so much a matter of the amount of work we do as being triangulated. And it's just recognizing the triangles. For example, in Florida, the church is given very different guidance to our local churches and how we gather than the state government's guidance has been. And so we understand that people feel triangulated, and yet we have leaned into that stress in order to preserve the integrity, that the health of the body is most important, and especially our most vulnerable members. We also think about the future and move into that direction. I know Bishop Aguirre is going to talk about that. And then lastly, that in a time of anxiety and stress, it's not about keeping the peace, but challenging people, expecting more of people, saying to them, we can do this. We can worship online for several months. And at times reach many more people. I can confront my own racism, and you can also, and we can stay with this discomfort. And Friedman had a bit of wisdom that the higher our threshold for pain, the more likely we are to grow.